peoples of the interwebs, I come to you once again to talk about Despia, because I love this deck. So, in my past videos, I've talked about, like, the future of the deck, the stuff that's going to happen after we get the Albash structure deck. This is kind of the list that I'm running right now in current format. So we're going to talk about that today. This is actually an old list right now that I'm showing you on the screen, because all the replays that I'm going to show you are done with this list. But I have labeled it Old Despia. This is what all the replays are currently playing with. I have this updated list that we're going to go through that I think will do much better. I just haven't had time to get replays with this deck yet. And the holidays are happening. I think I'm uploading this on Christmas Eve, if I even get around to it, because of holidays. But there's not much here to talk about. We got our Aluber, we got our Dramaturge, we got our Ad Libitum. This deck is only wanting one Tragedy. The one for the replays is playing 3. I feel like it's way too bricky. I might change this to 2 Tragedy. I just feel like it is just way too bricky of a card. For our Fusion Destiny package, we're actually playing Malicious and Denier, because we have a lot more links that we go to, and these actually really help with link climbing. So this is actually a really nice package. You can start using Malicious and Denier to go into some of these link plays. And I go into some link plays in the stuff, so we'll talk about that in the future. We got Trias, whatever her name is, as well as Diviner of the Herald and Dark Lord Superbia. This is an engine that, since it's Despia, we're all fairies here. We're getting some nice use of the Diviner of the Herald engine, kind of. It gets us to kind of some more link plays, and it goes great with the first Dark Lord. You can use Dark Lord to either get your Aluber back or your Diviner, so you could drop the Tis, or you could bring back Superbia. They all just kind of work together. And then we got our Edge Imp Chains in here. And the main difference between this deck and the old one is this one actually runs some hand traps. We got Droll. These could be Ash, Droll, whatever. I'm running Droll right now. Might switch it out later. The other hand trap is Impermanence. Other deck isn't running that. Foolish Burial for our Tragedy. It's another reason why I would want to bump it up to 2 Tragedy, but it's really just there for dumping the 1 Tragedy. The same way that we would with Branded Fusion. Try to get to our Aluber. You can also run Gold Sark. Gold Sark also does pretty much the same thing with Tragedy, because it gets it whether it's sent to the graveyard or banished. So if you want to, you could basically run 2 Foolish Burials for your Tragedy if you have Gold Sark. Then our Fusion Destiny, the rest of our Frightfur Patchwork engine to go along with the chains. 2 Brandeds, branded in red I should say, 2 branded openings, Called By, and our Theater. This is a less fusion focused engine, or like deck, than will be in the future, but we're still heavily based on fusions. Like I said before, we've got the Dark Lord. Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon is a really strong card in this deck if you can get to it. The main problem is the Predaplant monster. But if you can get to that Predaplant monster, which most of the time will probably be your Verte Anaconda, you can negate an effect, and if it's removed, it's Raigeki, and then it can immediately bring itself back by like banishing a Dramaturge or an Ad Libitum, or one of your other fusions that you don't think you're going to get back. The Protoplant Triff is here as our Super Poly target. Also, we tend to hit it more just with regular fusions because we're more based on, you know, all these darks. Dragos Despia. It's an okay card. Obviously, I like Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon more, but this can also get us to our Fusion Dragon. Quertus is great. Of course, you gotta have the DPE. It's such a strong card. Masquerade, and then we have Dangerous. Dangerous is interesting because you can drop a melee and a tragedy. And yes, you are technically locked for the rest of the turn to Dark Warriors or whatever. Dark Heroes. Yeah, Dark Heroes. But if you haven't normaled yet, it still gets you to your Aluber that you can still normal summon to get a Branded in Red, and you already have a tragedy in the graveyard. And so on your opponent's turn, you can Branded in Red and grab, you know, whatever. You can go into your Dragos Despia, or if you have a level 8 around in your hand or whatever, you can go into Greedy Venom. It's really good. Natis is just here to be sent off of Diviner of the Herald in those cases. Underworld Goddess is kind of like an extra kaiju. That's mostly what she's used for. You will see in one of the coming up plays that's exactly what we try and use her for, is to just grab something from our opponent that they can't really respond to. Appaloosa's here because she's Appaloosa. Condemned Dark Lord is an easy and quick way to get to Superbia in the graveyard. And also, if you have Condemned Dark Lord and like IP Masquerena on the field, you can go into Appaloosa on your opponent's turn, or even Underworld Goddess on your opponent's turn. That's what IP's good at. And then, of course, the Anaconda. I'm not a big fan of this. I hope it kind of gets banned, but it won't matter if Veriter gets banned or not. The real problem would be Fusion Destiny, which I think should probably get like limited to 1, but that's for a discussion in the future. Side deck is, you know, Lava Golem, because one kaiju typically isn't enough. Necro World Banshee and Zombie World is there for the birds and some other matchups. We got our Feather Duster for, you know, Feather Duster purposes. Gotta get rid of those back row decks. Droplet has been put into the side deck. Super Poly is here as well, and then Twin Twister. Usually, when I'm siding out, these first 4 are the main cards to side out of. If I don't think that Droll will be a good card, or whatever, those can also be removed. But these are the first 4, and maybe Superbia. But usually when I'm siding, these are the 4 easy slots to take out and put our side deck cards in. If we're taking out any Diviners, we're getting rid of Trias. So if you're just siding 3 cards or whatever, it's usually these 3 right here. But yeah, let's get on to the replays so I can talk you through them. And here we go. Okay, our first match is actually against Leerlisk Tri-Brigade, and I make a lot of mistakes in this matchup, but mostly these videos are for me to try and get better at the game while talking through my decision making kind of stuff. So that's what we're gonna do here. We've got a pretty okay opening hand. We've got our Aluber. We've got a Poly in hand. The main issue I have with this deck, and I'm hoping for, you know, not hoping, but, you know, gunning for the future to make this deck even better, is that these two cards are your competing normal summons. So if you open a hand like this, one of these two cards is going to be dead. But, yeah. So we started off with the Aluber. They let us go. We grab the branded and opening. We send off for the Edge Amp Chain to get the Dramaturge. That, of course, gets us our Fright for Patchwork. And then he drolls us here, which isn't fun. But I'm surprised he waited until we branded opening to droll us. That was a little odd, but, you know, whatever. We're going to end on Masquerade and Dramaturge and pass it over to our opponent. He's going to Desires. And he does the Nervall into Almirage. I'm not 100% on the lines that Tri-Brigade usually play, but this is the line. Grab the Fractal. And I hate this card because, of course, I do not like the birds. But, you know. Here we go. The birds are terrible and I hate them. They're just going to do bird plays. Obviously, this is to get into Zeus. And I'm going to Dramaturge to force out the Zeus. He only gets one go at it, basically. So, yeah. I automatically activate the Masquerade to get the Masquerade back. So we're going to grab the... Oh, we're going to activate Fright for Patchwork. This was actually, you know, one of the worst draws we could have had. But, you know, we'll have to live with it. He drolls us again. So here's the main combo that we have with the Diviner of the Herald. We drop the Turris Hierarchia into the graveyard. Then it allows us to basically swap places. And since the Diviner got sent to the graveyard, it lets us bring out the Tragedy. And then we can fuse for Quertus. Normally that's a good way to go into some link plays. Like you link off the Tragedy and the Hierarchia into something, but I think that the Quertus probably was a better idea. Now that I'm thinking through it, it's not the best, but we got the Tragedy into the graveyard by using a card effect, so we get to use the Tragedy's effect now instead of later. Or I guess we don't. Did we already use the... Oh, obviously we don't. I'm making mistakes even now when I'm talking about the replay. This is obviously, we could not draw anything because of Droll and Lockbird. So, we've come to this. He normal summons the Fractal into the fucking bird. The bird is going to pop cards. We're going to activate the Quertus, turn all his cards attack to 0. He's going to pop the Quertus. Quertus' effects activates, so we get our Aluber back. Oh, sorry. Quertus grabs Dramaturge, and Aluber's effect in the graveyard activates, so we can negate something and bring it back. Done. Unfortunately, he had the triple tactic talents. So let's just talk about this for a second. He had 2 drolls and a triple tack that we've had to play through. He goes into the Farigite, grabs the Nerval, brings out the Simorg, and we start hitting through things. We're not dead yet. I still don't understand why he attacked with Zeus. He goes into the Wind Charmer to get the Farigite in the graveyard, I suppose. We get our Dramaturge back. And I'm surprised he does not barrier statue us here, but yeah. We got a lot of things to work through here. So, I Foolish Burial. Even though we've already used the Tragedy, this is why having 2 Tragedy would probably be better. But this is with the old deck, so we have 3 Tragedy. So we get the thing. He's going to imperm our Dramaturge, which is interesting. We grab the branded in red. We're going to go into first Dark Lord here, get our Dramaturge back. Main reason going for first Dark Lord here is because it can hit over Divine Arsenal. We're going to bring out Diviner of the Herald with the effect of Dark Lord and use our Natis to pop. Then we're going to walk over some things, go into an Anaconda. Not only does this get rid of the Diviner on the field, but so we can bring it out again with Dark Lord. But it also brings our Dramaturge back from being banished and puts it back in the graveyard for future branded and red plays. And then we get our Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer. He's going to do bird plays, because of course they're going to do bird plays. Lots of things are happening here. Oh, we bring the Dramaturge back so we can negate the Shureg, the freaking bird. He's gonna do more bird plays because of course. And then he uses Recital Starling to attack into first Dark Lord to cause us to tie. Now, if he used Recital Starling's first effect of when this is Xyz summoned, you can target a face-up monster on the field. It gains 300 attack and defense for the material attached to this card. He could have sent that to Shureg. Shureg could have beaten over DPE, and that was enough for me to lose. But because of he instead used the other effect of Recital Starling to force a tie. So yeah, little bit of misplay on the opponent there, but you know, in the end, this was a best of 3, and they still won overall. This was just the game that was most notable with this deck. So, yeah. We both technically reached 0 because of the effect of Recital Starling. And the game is over. So, on to the next. This next game, I believe this is game 3 of a match that I had against Magistus. And yes, there was a comment on the previous video stating that I'm not facing enough quote-unquote meta decks. I'm sorry, but apparently a lot of people on Omega like to play Magistus. And so that's I get a lot of footage against Magistus players. I don't know. You got your Lyrilusc try game in the previous replay. I'm sorry. But here we go. We're going second. They're doing Magistus plays that I don't understand. Look at all these things they're doing. So, from what I understand is this is supposed to stop me from Synchro and Link summoning. Okay. Obviously, Link summoning is kind of a problem, but with this deck. But luckily, we've got some good things. And since this is actually game 3, I'm surprised they did not try and stop us from fusion summoning. But we've got a pretty meh hand here. And that second branded in red drawing doesn't do us much good. But we can foolish our tragedy to get a dramaturge. Right for patchwork, for our poly. We're just gonna go straight into Quertus. Have not even normaled yet. We're gonna get our... Oh, that's right, he effect failures our Quertus. But we still have our big boy Dramaturge. And we normal summon the Aluber. We grab the Theater, because there's... we could drop the Patchwork with opening, but we already have most of what we want anyways. And so we play the field, and we go into battle, so we can hit Dramaturge over his Zora. And then, because we don't read cards, we lose. We set the dimensional barrier and the branded in red and go on our way. So yeah, we drop the dimensional barrier so he can't have his thing attached anymore. Turns off everything that Zora does, because I don't want to read it. Just gonna play some more Magistus fun. Still don't know what's going on. So I still don't understand exactly what's going on. He activates this thing. I activate Quertus. He tries to imperm Quertus. So I activate Branded in Red to protect the Quertus. To go into Dragos Tapalia. We're just gonna step by step this. Imperm has nothing left to hit. Everything turns to 0. I don't know what that card does, but it went to the graveyard. Also, we turn this into a level 1 with Despia, so it can't activate its effect. And we also get Dramaturge back from the Banished because of its awesome effects. Unfortunately, now this thing becomes super mega huge. So, I'm not sure that he thought what he was thinking. He could have walked over a louver with this big boy because it was at 1,000 attack points when everything went down, basically. But we drew a second D barrier. And here is our greedy Venom Fusion Dragon Boy. He is very wonderful, and I love him. Especially because immediately he gets Effect Veilered. We get our Dramaturge back. We're just cycling through our patchwork. Cycling through a bunch of stuff. I turned this guy off just to be safe. Because he has a lot of things going and I still don't want to read it all the way through. But no matter what, I'm planning on this guy going off in the graveyard. Battle phase, walk into it, send him to the graveyard, activate his effect, wipes the entire board, and then I banish the Despia to bring him back, and he gets another attack. We set the D barrier, banish the Tragedy to grab another branded in red. He's going through some of his plays. I activate the D barrier again to turn off synchros. It's just a fun old time. We're going through a bunch of plays that don't really matter. Oh, I misclicked when I went to go activate Greedy Venom Dragon's effect. That is why he went into defense position. But we drew the Fusion Destiny, so of course we get the best fusion pretty much in our deck. And then we get lethal anyways, but gotta not misclick on turning it into defense position like a big old dummy. So this is another one where we're in the middle of a match. I don't remember what game it is, but I have sighted into the Super Polys because we're facing Live Twin. Now, I think Live Twin is a lot more, I wouldn't say meta. I'd say it's a higher rogue tier than Magistus is, but we're playing against Live Twin. We got the Super Poly. We got some other stuff, and we got our Fusion Destiny, the real main boy that's going to help us win this game. Grab the patchwork. Unfortunately, we can't really fuse much with this deck, with this hand, I mean, besides the Fusion Destiny. But we're going to normal the Edge Imps Chain, bring out our Destroyer, and we're going to set our Poly and our Droplet. Because I know we're playing Live Twin at this point, this Fusion is getting, this Super Poly is getting ready for, just for him to have two other Darks on the field so we can go into Predaplant Triff. Plays fucking Widow Anchor. Why do they play Widow Anchor? Evil Twins doing their Evil Twin thing. I droplet the Leela because I know it can pop and I don't want it to pop. So, thankfully, because of the way Edge Imp Chain is worded, you still get the effect when using it with stuff like Forbidden Droplet. So I still get the patchwork sent to my hand. He's going through all his cards, and immediately after he drops the second Dark on his side of the field, we go into Triff. Immediately, as soon as I saw it drop. So we bring back the Destroyer Phoenix that had to be destroyed because of Fusion Destiny, but who really cares at that point? Go into Patchwork. We grab our last chain and our last poly. With the normal summon, you get the effect. You can use Phoenix Enforcer to pop the Tragedy, so you get the effect of Tragedy. I mean, I could have just, Fusion summoned there, but now we have Dramaturge in our hand. We get Masquerade and Dramaturge, and that's going to give us lethal. That's the true power of Despia. That's how we can do things around here. I thank you all for watching, and I don't know if I will make a video next week because of the holidays still. I don't even know if this is going to come out on time or not. We will see. But I thank you all for watching and all the support I've gotten on the other videos. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.